Hey Matt, who do we have today for our TennisCon All-Star video?
Essential Tennis, Ian Westerman.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's been playing a lot of matches.
Yeah.
Super entertaining.
You've probably seen him playing matches because that's like his thing now.
Yeah, so make sure you enjoy this video, subscribe to his channel after watching the video, and find out how you can be part of TennisCon 5.
Yeah.
But the good news is I've seen people improve 500% overnight.
There's a reason why tennis players rarely play to their potential during matches, and the solution is probably much more simple than you think. And it doesn't have anything to do with strokes or technique or strategy or anything like that, even though that's what the vast majority of tennis lessons focus on. And there's nothing wrong with those things. Obviously, we need those things to play the game of tennis, but more times than not, who wins and who loses comes down to the mental side of the game. That's exactly why I invited Ed Sang, a peak performance expert, right here to the Essential Tennis headquarters to get his insight on how we can be more mentally tough during matches. Here's some of his thoughts on how we can do a better job when things really matter the most.
I think if we all were able to play to our potential, we'd be pretty satisfied, wouldn't you, Ian?
We'd all be much more happy.
Yeah.
Or I would hope so. If we played our best every time, it's like, what would there to be angry about?
And it's not just playing our best, meaning playing perfectly, because that's not possible, but playing to
best for us.
Best for us, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spoken to coaches and parents with their players as well, and it's enlightening for the player to know that, you know, when I ask a coach or a parent, hey, if Johnny went all out every single match, you know, and played to his potential, would you give him a hard time? They would never say yes, right? They would only give him a hard time if he gave up, you know, he had a bad attitude. So I think when you look at it that way, I mean, when Mahatma Gandhi said full effort is full victory, you know, but the problem with most people is they don't play with their foot on the gas. They act according to how they feel. But it doesn't have to be that way. You know, if I'm an actor on Broadway and the curtain starts to go up and, you know, I'm not feeling into it, can I say, wait, stop the curtain? You know, you can't. You have to be in the part whether you feel like it or not. You know, I've given tons of lectures, you know, throughout the world, and whether I'm speaking to 2 people or 1,000 people, I still get nervous, right? But I don't act accordingly. I still go all out, and I would say 99% of the time I'm pleased with my results. So how does that relate to a tennis match, Ian?
Oh man, yeah, a lot of different things come to mind for me, but I think allowing whatever I'm feeling in the moment, I think for most tennis players, like whatever, whether it's happiness or like satisfaction or annoyance or frustration, yeah, I think generally that kind of influences our efforts. Or our, I guess maybe energy. We talked about energy
Sure.
a moment ago. It's like the more low of a state I'm in, I think I think the more likely people are to tank. You know, is the tennis.
That's right.
The scientific term on the tennis court. I think the lower state people are in, the more likely they are to just be like, oh, this is stupid, and just kind of stop giving a full effort.
Here's the great news for all of us. We can go from feeling in that low state of mind to feeling total confidence pretty darn quickly. How crazy is that? And you're looking at me like I'm a little crazy, but I'm telling you, it's the truth. And here's the phenomenon. As quickly as our thinking changes, our feelings change, our experience changes. So here's an example off the court. So pretty recently, I was walking my dog, and it was pretty cold out. It was nighttime, and I was like, my first thought was, oh man, why do I have to walk the dog? Why can't someone else walk the dog? It's cold. And I felt those feelings. I felt annoyed. But thank goodness I know what I know, and I have a good grounding in the mental game. I knew that it was just a random thought, and it wasn't necessarily truth. I knew it was just one perspective, and I just kept walking the dog. And it even amazed me that within seconds, I went from annoyance to why do I have to walk the dog to, hey, you know what? It's part of being a family. You know, I don't mind doing it and sacrificing. And actually, it's pretty cool to get some fresh air, and it's a beautiful moon out.
It's almost like if you make mental room, or maybe focus is a better word. Like if you leave kind of
Little space
in your head to allow for your focus to shift to something else, it's like something else is probably going to come along, right?
100%, always. Only you can keep a thought and a feeling in place.
Nailed
Right.
down. Like I'm going to be cold. Like
That's
I'm going
right.
to be upset.
That's right. And think of it this way. If this is sitting here, for a month, and the water gets pretty bad, if you wanted to put fresh water in this bottle, would you just pour fresh water, over the stale, old water? No, you'd empty it first. So I love what you said about giving yourself that space, right? When you have that space, that's when we're more creative. And this translates to being on the court too. When you have space, when you're competing, then you come up with ideas like, oh, maybe I should come to net more. But if you're so cluttered, like a kind of a popcorn maker, and you're stuck in that alternate universe in this world, there's no space for creativity, for enjoyment, for anything that we're all looking for.
Yeah, it's all, and I feel like, well, I guess I'll speak for myself. I feel like a lot of times, I don't know. It's like you get fixated on one thing, and it's almost easier to just stay. It's like, no, this is like the story I'm telling myself,
That's
and
right.
I'm just gonna stick with that. And it's almost easier to go down with the ship.
That's right.
That way
That's
than
true.
to like be a little bit more open to alternate perspectives.
Well, it could be scary. Some people find comfort in that habit, right?
Sure.
But again,
Playing the tape back and be like, oh, here we go again. Like this is the way it always is.
exactly. But the good news is I've seen people improve 500% overnight just by understanding what we're talking about.
And just leaving the space for other perspectives.
100%. And it's actually difficult to hear something truly new, because when we hear things, we kind of go to what we already know. And so my hope for you watching is to just be open and listen as if you're listening to music, not as if you're trying to get it. Because, so many times people come to my lectures and they bring their, spouse or a friend who doesn't care about mindset. And so the person who brings their friend is like, oh, I really want to get this. I want to be mentally tough. And they're trying to get it, and they don't. But their friend who doesn't care, they're like, oh my gosh, that was the most amazing lecture I've ever heard. So they have that space and they're open to it, and they're just listening and just taking it in versus trying to do mental toughness.
A core part of Ed's philosophy is understanding the relationship between our thoughts and our feelings, and how that really paints our experience on the tennis court or in the rest of everyday life. The reality is our thoughts are always going to be coming and going no matter what. As long as we're alive and breathing, there's nothing we can do to stop our thoughts or force them to be the thoughts that we want to be having. They're always coming and going. And what gets us into trouble is when we fixate on a certain thought, and then it snowballs into a negative feeling of anxiousness or tension or anxiety or nervousness. And unfortunately, the vast majority of mental toughness coaching really focuses in on those feelings and basically provides like a surface level Band-Aid kind of trick to trying to feel a different way, as opposed to just kind of understanding how our thoughts really work. So here's Ed explaining that perfectly in one of our conversations.
So why do players play tight? You know that feeling, right, Ian? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Not specifically you.
Oh, no, I know. I've been playing matches.
You must be an expert in that, Ian. No. But every tennis player knows the feeling of playing tight, right? I mean, instead of accelerating, we decelerate, right? Our feet stop moving. I've had players tell me, oh, I can't, it feels like I can't even control my arm, right? Now, the source of that tightness, now you know, right? Just from tight thoughts, right? We all have tight thoughts, and sometimes we attribute it to a circumstance or a situation, right? Ooh, this is a big match. Is it? No, I mean, every match is big, but no match is important. Once you make it important, then all of a sudden we get tighter, we focus on the wrong things at the wrong time, right? So obviously our goal is to play like we practice, right? So when we have tight thinking and we focus on that, we think it's a problem, we blame some external circumstance or situation, then we're going to continue to feel that way. But once we realize that, okay, it's normal, right? It happens to every tennis player, even the players on the tour, then we kind of relax about it. And when we relax about it, guess what? We're looser, we're freer, and we play better.
So it's a normal competitive experience. So what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I mean,
being tight?
I remember an interview with Pete Sampras after he retired. He said, "What do you miss most about playing on the tour?" He's like, I miss most getting so nervous before a match that I threw up in the locker room." Right? So if a Pete Sampras feels those feelings, we're all going to feel those feelings. But he, like you said, relished it, right? He knew that was part of the game, and he knew that he was about to do something great.
You said a moment ago that I believe what you said was every match is big, but not every match is
important.
Shouldn't be important. What's the distinction there?
Well, I mean, most of the people watching this, they're competitive, right? So you want to win. So it's important, right? But I think if you put so much value on it that it affects your performance, then it's going to make you feel tighter and tighter.
So how do we separate that from all the time, the effort, like the money, that we invest? It's like, isn't that kind of a normal byproduct for us to build
Sure.
the importance up?
Of
over
course,
time?
of course. But by focusing on all those things you just mentioned, is that helpful or hurtful?
To performance?
Yeah.
Not helpful.
Right? And a lot of times junior players feel guilty because they
Sure.
travel to all these tournaments that, their parents are paying for, and they're like, oh, if I don't perform, I'm going to hear it, right? But again, what are we focusing on, right? What's going to put us in the best position to win?
Sure.
It's
So it's not that it's irrelevant, it's not that the work, the effort, the money is not relevant. It's just a matter of what are we focusing our energy on.
And you'll hear a lot of people say, focus on the process, right? And that could mean many things, but ultimately it means do what you're doing while you're doing it, right? So if you're competing, compete, right? It doesn't make sense to focus on all those thoughts that pop up, whether it's, I traveled all the way here, it would stink to lose first round, my parents put a lot of money into this, or I haven't, had a win in weeks, things like that.
So bottom line, tightness isn't a problem to try to be solved.
It's normal, and it comes from tight thinking. It doesn't come from any situation or circumstance. So you can stop blaming those things, you can stop worrying about those things, and like Nike said, just do it, just play. When we just play, we're smoother, we're looser, we accelerate instead of decelerating, and I think that's a game changer. It's that simple. There's nothing you need to do to feel less tight. In fact, trying to be less tight keeps it around longer.
Be less tight.
Right? Be less tight. Right? And I know we've talked about this before. Your brain doesn't know the word not. So do not be tight.
Don't
Right?
double fault.
Yeah. I want all of you right now, right? Do not think about a pink elephant. Think of a pink elephant, right? So that's the whole thing. What are we focusing on? We focusing on what's helpful or all the external distractions? It's kind of like, flipping through the TV stations. I don't know if they still have channels that are like static where there's no programming. But, if you were flipping through the channels looking for something to watch and you came to one of those channels that was static, would you put the remote down and focus on the static and watch that? I hope not.
Sounds like a scary movie.
Exactly. You would just keep going, right? So if you have static in your mind of, I'm traveling here, my parents are going to be mad if I don't get results, when that static pops up, you just keep going. Keep going through the channels, just keep going through what you're doing, whether it's competing, practicing, having a meal.
I've been working with Ed to create mental toughness resources for over 7 years now, and I can tell you from experience that at first, it seems like his approach is too simple for it possibly to be effective. But I can also tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is the most powerful and transformational mental toughness coaching that I've seen in my over 2 decades of being a tennis coach. It's completely transformed my personal relationship with competition, and it's completely allowed me to be open and free on the court in super high pressure and stress situations. And I've seen his approach had the exact same effect for hundreds of other tennis players thanks to the resources that we've created together online. In fact, in the next video that we're going to be releasing, I'm going to share the story with you of several of the students that we've worked together with online and their struggles before and how they overcame those struggles it's incredible. They're incredible stories, and I know you're going to be inspired by them. So please don't miss that video. It's going to be called Mental Tennis Transformation. And if it's already been published, you'll be able to click on it on this screen right now. But if it hasn't, please subscribe so that you don't miss out, because I want nothing more for you to have your own mental tennis transformation and really play your best when it matters the most. In the highest stress, highest pressure situations, you deserve to play your best tennis. So I'll see you in that next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.
Matt, what are you doing?
Hello, Maria Sharapova. What are we telling them about today?
Well, Maria Sharapova is not part of TennisCon 5, but we have some of the greatest online instructors, and we do have Grand Slam champions like Gigi Fernandez, and so we're going to be giving out the alert list. The alert list is coming for TennisCon 5. It's not quite available. Tickets are not available yet, but keep watching our videos for more awesome instruction from TennisCon 5 players, more videos with Matt, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Make sure you subscribe.
She used to do that. You remember?
Yes, she did that. She did that.
Strings.
Okay, Matt's going to keep doing that. You keep watching our videos, because you never know what Matt's going to come back with. And be looking out for TennisCon 5. We'll see you guys.